live. Hello, we're live. It says we're
Hello.
live.
Welcome to the Double D podcast.
He's winding me up because I couldn't hear him.
She needs me to have this directly to my mouth for her to hear me. And I'm trying to, pardon me, I'm trying to be quiet because I have a feeling all you guys are going to be like, he's too loud.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm just because sometimes I can hear you fine, and sometimes I think it's just StreamYard. I know other people have had issues with hearing on StreamYard. It goes in and out. Sometimes I can hear you fine, and sometimes I'm like, "What'd you say?" Speaking to the good ear, So, and it was
I don't
the
know.
little
I never have
horns.
trouble with hearing people on StreamYard.
Um,
It could be
hey,
me too because I tend to mumble.
you did earlier, and thought I was going deaf.
No, that one was on
I
purpose.
know. Hey, Sam, gloves. Um, so Daniel, how's the weather today?
Well, for the second time today,
Oh, that's right.
it is sunny
Huh.
mostly, um, and then it's chilly. Tomorrow's going to be down outright cold. 29 for the high.
See that? Are you still getting snow flurries or no?
No, we had some last night, but no, and we are not going to get what they are about to get in Buffalo, New York. Anybody that is on the what they
East.
say east side of the lakes or to the southern is going to get snow thunderstorms,
Oh,
and they're expecting around the Buffalo area maybe up to 6 feet of snow.
right.
6 feet. That's like you dead.
Would you say you did?
You dead. 6 feet of snow on top of you, and then you can't get out anywhere. No way, no how. So, luckily, we're not getting anything from this burst of cold. I say that, but also we had snow flurries the other day and ended up with 3 to 4 inches of snow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're cold. It's colder there than it is here. I think. Well, first of all, let me say, hey, Bree. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Kitschy Cat, Kathy. Hey, Heather Elizabeth. Here, you guys are colder than here. It rained all the live long day.
You just froze on me.
Oh, did I?
I don't know if you froze for everybody else, but you did for me.
I think I did. Yeah. I can see. Okay. Are we okay now? Am I moving?
Yes.
Okay.
You are fine now. If anybody
So
wants to know, the reason this is in my mouth is because Dolores said she couldn't hear me.
I think it looks cool with it. Like he looks like he's really like into it.
I'm a professional.
Oh God, 8 feet of snow. Oh no. You're glitching at different times. We're both glitching. Daniel, it's the Matrix. Something wrong with it.
Somebody said when I was doing my live that it
Yeah.
was glitchy.
Whenever were you on StreamYard on your live?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe it's StreamYard then. Oh my God, Amanda, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to get snowy. Yeah. Hey, Cracky Kristen, you're both glitching. Oh yeah, I just read that. See, that's the kind of week I'm having. I'm having such a crap week, y'all. And I look forward to Thursdays. Um, oh, okay. Yep. Christine, yep. Uh, StreamYard's been having issues.
Well, even despite StreamYard, we're kind of glitchy around here anyway, so we're just gonna go with it.
Yeah, we're usually pretty glitchy.
Just...
Is it a full moon? Yeah, I'm girl, right? It's just been a weird. Daniel knows it's been a weird. But
I don't know what you're talking about. I've had a wonderful week.
uh-huh. Um, yeah, it's a weird one. It's just I don't know if it's this the time of year. I don't know. It's just weird full moon. There's a skip in the Matrix. Who knows? But it's been a really bizarre week, and I don't even know. But it's like I said, it's colder there than it is here at the moment, which is you can keep it. Thank you. I don't mind cold weather, but today I'm telling you, it rained like it. I mean, drought. What? There's no drought now. It just rained so much, and it's been crazy, and it's cold. And I actually turned the heat on. I know I had to. I was freezing. I was like, oh, forget this.
Mine's been on for a while.
Yeah. I refused to.
Yeah.
I
I
had
know.
made
Your poor cats were sitting there freezing to death, and you refused to turn on the heat. Listen to her. She refused to turn on the heat, let the cat, but she had those dang cats in a car, in the air conditioner, in the middle of summer.
well, listen. They have loads of blankets. They have loads of comforters. They curl up. They got fur coats, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they're fine. They all sleep under the covers with me, so and I can't move at night. So there's that. Right. So today on
Hold
Double
on.
D. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know how many people's here. Thumbs ups.
Thumbs up.
I'm pimping for Dolores. Give her the thumbs. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You
Christine, I
now.
did take care of them in the summer when I put them in the car in the air conditioner. The cold. I mean, when I say I'm cold, they're probably fine, and I'm just cold because. But I finally turned the heat on. Like I said, uh they have little fur coats. So
I've been sitting here with a heater beside me for a month now.
I just refuse because the cost of energy. Get out of here with that. I
Oh, I
mean,
know. Trust me. When I get the next bill, I'll be like, well, stand in line behind the plumber and
So Amanda's got it's -5 Celsius outside. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And 6 inches snow on the ground. I just got to turn the heating on. Yeah, I don't blame you, girl. Now, see, in that situation, the heat would be on. Housework warms you up. Yeah, that's what Dave says when he does it.
that's why I'm cold all the time.
um hey, Margot. So today I have a tale to tell. A tale to tell.
Is it
Um,
as old as time?
not quite that old, but it's quite a harrowing tale. And so come close, everybody gather around, turn the lights down low in your house. Um, and we'll talk about a tale. Now it's not scary, but it's bizarre. But not as bizarre as the autumn brief today by our financial chancellor and the Tory party. That was scary. Anyway, back
Huh?
to oh well, they had the autumn budget, didn't they? They came up with the autumn budget here. The last time someone did an autumn budget, the pound crashed. So when, when Liz and her trusty sidekick um, made a mini budget, the pound crashed. Today they had the autumn budget, which they call the autumn budget, and yeah, nothing. I mean, it's like, so why are you telling me this? Because nothing's changed. I mean, there was a few good things, but yeah, no, it's just it's not. This story is not that scary, I guess, is what I'm saying. as the autumn budget was
Yeah,
by the
I'm not
Tory
going to
party.
talk about our politics here and what just happened yesterday.
Yeah, no, I heard. Yeah, we try not to um, talk about that. Oof. So, so the harrowing tale today. Well, it's the harrowing case of Lord Lucan. I don't know if you ever heard of him or ever heard the story, but it was big news here in the UK, well before my time, before I moved here. I mean, it was in the 70s. But before I talk about the whole case, what I need to do is acknowledge the victim of this crime, and that was a young lady named Sandra Rivet. Sandra Rivet, there's not a lot about her, because the Lord Lucan case was um, so publicized and so bizarre and strange, the whole thing, that they really didn't focus on the victims like, they never do. It's all about glorifying the criminal. And which is why I'm talking about him today. Well, no, but there's some other news that has come up. That's why I brought it up, because something recent happened with this whole case. This case happened in 1974. So, from what I can gather, Sandra Rivet was a young lady who she had two children, but her parents raised, and one she gave up for adoption. And she had been married and then divorced, and she was currently had a boyfriend. And she, did and her second son, Neil Berryman, was who was adopted out. And that's important to remember that name because he'll come up later in the story. So her son, her second child, was given up for adoption. So and was had a wonderful family. There's nothing about that. He had a great life with his adopted parents. So um, and so there's not a lot about her. She did like some domestic work. She was born in Croydon in 1945, and spent her first few years living in Australia, and then moved back to Croydon in 1955. And she was considered intelligent. She was like lovely, like a really nice young lady. She had some issues, especially in this the 70s. It's not like today where you can have a child out of wedlock, not a big deal. Back then it was a little different. So she had some struggles, but then she got different jobs, and she ended up working as a domestic for the Bavaria. Was it called the Bavaria London Domestic Agency? So she was basically they would send her to different houses to work. Well, in this job, she was a nanny for Lord and Lady Lucan, and in 1974, and she took care of the kids' children. I mean, the couple's children, Lord Lucan and Lady Lucan's children. She only worked there 10 weeks before before tragedy struck, and she passed away, and she was killed, and she was only 29 years old. So I just kind of want to acknowledge her because there's not a lot written about her, and I feel like if we're going to talk about this case, we need to talk about I wanted to bring her up and acknowledge her, and that her demise was unfortunate, and we're going to find out why. So Lord Lucan, well, what to say about Lord Lucan? I mean, I could use the adjective twat, and I will. So he was the seventh Earl of Lucan. He was a British peer. Now, what a British peer means, it's a hereditary title composed of noble ranks. So you either inherit it, or I don't know if you can purchase them, but you inherit it. Usually inherit it from the men inherit it from their father. So the whole patriarchy thing. And he disappeared in 1974 when he was 40 years old. Just disappeared. I don't know. But his young life was obviously, as you can imagine, a young aristocrat living, privileged. Private schools, Eton, all the things. Hey, Angela. And he served in the British Army. But the thing, and he had a job as a merchant banker, which his father probably got him. But I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't intelligent, but well, he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he liked to gamble, right? So he was a gambler, but he sucked at it. He was absolutely horrible at gambling. And he would gamble on stuff like backgammon. They would have like these backgammon tournaments and gamble like loads of money. I'm like, how do you even gamble? I mean, how's that even a thing? I don't even understand how you're gambling with backgammon. Bizarre. Don't understand it. But he did. And he would win, he would win. There were times when he won good money, but most of the times they were losses. So he thought, I'm a pretty good gambler, like, 6 out of 10 times. Well, not even 6, 4 to 10 times. So I'm going to quit my job and become, I guess, a professional gambler. So he, now when he was always known as Lord Bingham until his father passed away. And that's when he became a lord. That's when he got the title of Lord Lucan. Hey, Gosha. So that's how he became lord. Now, because his father passed away, as a title, hereditary, aristocrats, all the things, gambling, useless, the perfect man. Exactly what you're looking for in a husband. So he was actually considered to play the role of James Bond at one point. When Ian Fleming started to write his books, I guess they either knew each other or, and they were going to adapt it to a movie. He asked him to, would you want to play it? Because to be fair, he wasn't a bad looking dude. He was just an idiot. Um, and because he had fancy cars, he had yachts, he had all the things. So, and he actually turned it down, which is, maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he should have taken a role and his whole life would have been different, but he didn't. So he married Veronica Duncan in 1963, and that was who became Lady Lucan. And she had 3 children. They had 3 kids together, fine, living the life. His days consisted of getting up around 9 a.m., reading the paper, having his breakfast, and, doing piss all, really. And then in the evening, going to the men's club, and that, where he gambled. And his wife just stayed at home with the kids. She was a stay at home, she was the lady of the house. And they lived in a house in Belgravia, London, which is an area of London which is quite posh. So, and remember, you're like, well, how is he making his money? You get the family purse. This money gets passed down. He's obviously the oldest and the child and maybe the only male heir. So obviously that's how it works. He probably got all the money when his dad died, whatever. So in 1972, by 1972, the marriage had broken down, and Lord Lucan moved out into, and you can imagine why. Like, well, his wife Veronica, let's talk about her a minute. She suffered with postnatal depression. Of course, back then they were just like, you're crazy. So he tried to have her sectioned or put into, a mental facility, and she refused. So she managed to get treatment at home. But, back then they're just like, they just gave you cheer up bitch pills, and that was it. They said, cheer up bitch, here's some pills, and, let's not talk about what your real problems are. So that's what happened to her. So she, plus he was probably, reports where he was a bit abusive. He was never home at night. He was always out gambling. They were probably in loads of debt. And she, and suffering postpartum depression with 2 other children, 3 in total. She didn't have it easy. Now, we could see, when I say she didn't have it easy, she actually lived in a big house in Belgravia, London. But, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. It all seems on the facade seems to be very, pretty and, wonderful. But behind the scenes, clearly there was problems. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Nope. He's like, nope.
I went and looked him up. He should have, instead of gambling, went into porn because he looked like a 70s porn star.
He has he has the tash. Yes. He has
He would have made
porn
money.
tash. Okay. And so so Lord Lucan moved out of the property, and there was a bitter custody battle. It was bitter. He would spy on her, tap her phones. Like, could you tap people's phones in 1974? Or he would record her. That's what he would do. He would, like, when he talked to her, he had this little tape player, and he'd like put it up to the phone and record all her conversations, spy on her. Was he wearing socks? I don't know. Probably. Who knows? But and he wasn't a bad looking dude. For the time, he was, he was tall, handsome, an idiot, like all the girls. Pretense of money. He had a title. Did you look him up? Yeah, he wasn't a bad looking dude. It's just that he was not the best lord of the Lucans, I'm sure. So, and he was obsessed with this custody battle. He was obsessed with regaining his children. Why, when you're never there and you're constantly gambling? What are you gonna do? Who's taking care of them? You're never home. So obviously, the legal expenses that he was accruing, the debt he was in, he was a lord, Christine. He was Lord Lucan. And so he was he was it was an absolute dumpster fire in his life because everything was going wrong. Wife, he left his wife. He had debt. He didn't have his children. But probably because he didn't want to pay child support. Let's be honest. He just wanted them kids, so he didn't have to pay child support. I'm not even gonna. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So, and the thing is that he just was obsessive about it. He wouldn't leave this woman alone, and to the point where when Lady Lucan would hire nannies, he would go up to them and like befriend them, and then try to get information out of them, and a lot of them left because of it. So it was very hard for her to keep any nannies because he was always like stalking them and like trying to get information from them. So by this point, this is in the story. It's 1974, and uh, Sandra Rivet had gone to work for Lady Lucan, and just started working there. Wasn't there but 10 weeks, and so now it was a Thursday, a normal Thursday, on November 7th, and they were in the house and they put the kids to bed. The nanny and the mom had put the kids to bed, and so they lived in a house that was kind of like where you had the kitchen down here, almost like a basement kitchen. Then the second floor was like your living area, and then the upper floors were the bedrooms. So it was almost like a brownstone, like one of those brownstones. So it's a bit like that. And so they but normally she would have Thursday off. Normally she took Thursdays off. That was her day off. That was the day she was supposed to be off. But that Thursday, I think she wasn't supposed to see her boyfriend wasn't off, or she couldn't see her boyfriend that day. So she just thought she'd work it and then switch another day. Maybe have like the Saturday off or whatever. So she wasn't even supposed to be there. This is what's even more tragic, that should have been her day off. So they put the kids to bed, and Sandra asked Lady Lucan if she'd like a cup of tea. And Lady Lucan goes, sure, yes, I'd love a cup of tea. So Sandra goes downstairs to the kitchen, because that's where the kitchen is, the basement kitchen. Goes downstairs, and as she entered the room, as she walked down the stairs and entered the bottom of the stairs, she was attacked. Just out of the blue, she was attacked, bludgeoned to death. She was just, attacked, just with a, just with a big with a big pipe. And then her killer placed her in a bag, like this big, like almost like a big duffel bag, you know, in the hallway. When she came down the stairs, there's a little hallway, and then you go into the kitchen. With that hallway, he'd placed her in a bag, like he just like attacked her. Then Lady Lucan, after a while, was like, where's Sandra with the tea? Like I've been here, the time's ticking, I want the tea. So she decides to go check on her because she hadn't heard her. Apparently, she didn't hear any of this. So she walks down the stairs, and as she gets to the stairs and she starts to walk down, she's attacked. So now Lady Lucan's attacked. And she was screaming, and this Lady Lucan put up a fight. She absolutely went nuts. And she's screaming and screaming and screaming. And the guy tells her, shut up. Just shut up. And she recognized the voice as Lord Lucan. And she was like, she goes, what are you doing here? So they start arguing. She, to the point, grabs him by the cojones and bites him. And he lets her go. Like he, stops hitting her because, that's a pretty sensitive area to grab. So once they stop fighting, he's like, he's freaking out. And she's like, look, don't do anything. Look, if I'll let you see the kids and then you leave and I won't say anything, And she's like, where's Sandra? And he said, she's in the bag. Now, at this point, this is the story. This is Lady Lucan's account of the events. Cojones. Kind of by the cojones. So she's thinking, okay, I've got to talk my way out of this. I've got to give him whatever he wants. And so he goes, yes, let me see the kids. They go upstairs. Christine. Hey, Christine. Lord Lucan, look him up. So they go upstairs, and he's like, wants to see his kids. And she gets upstairs, and there's blood everywhere. There's blood all over him, all over. She's just tracking blood through the house. And the kids are asleep. So he goes and looks in the room at the kids. And then she goes, look, just go. And I'll, I won't say anything. So he leaves. He ends up taking off. And at this point, he leaves the house. Now, remember when I said back a while ago, he likes fancy cars and yachts. Tell me why he was driving a little Ford like Focus, like a little Ford Fiesta. That day, he was driving an entirely different car that wasn't fancy. It was just a whole, I don't even know where he got it from. No one knows where he got this car from, but it's where he showed up in. So he leaves. He stops at, I think, a payphone and calls his mom, who lives in the area, and says, "Mom, this horrible thing happened. I was driving by the house." Now, this is a story he will tell everybody. "I was driving by the house and I saw a man attacking, my wife. So I ran in to help her." So where's the guy? You know what I mean? Like, what? So you need to go over to the house because there's been an incident there. Or, you need to call the police and tell them to go to the house. So she calls the police. They go to the house. He, meanwhile, is taken off. He's now, I don't know if he was paranoid schizophrenic. I have no idea. There was never any reports about that in any of the stories about Lord Lucan. If he was, it was undiagnosed. So, but I think I have no idea what the whole thing was, like why he did any of this. So, hey, Helen. So he runs off, so he ends up at a friend's house. He tells a friend the same story. "Oh, there was this, horrible incident at the house where my wife was attacked." And then he said, "As I was leaving, after I'd helped her, she screamed at me, 'I'm going to tell everybody you did this.'" He's like, but he left and then he went to his friend's house and he's like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." And he leaves. Well, first, before he leaves, he writes a letter. He made several phone calls to lots of friends, and he wrote a letter to his brother-in-law, which had like financial instructions in it. Like at the time, he was about to auction off a bunch of his like items because he needed money. So he said, "Pay this person, this person, this person the money, and screw the bank." So that's pretty much what his letter said. And the car he was driving was eventually found 2 days later in New Haven, which is not New Haven, Connecticut, New Haven, England, and which I believe is by a bay. I'm unclear. They found his car. Inside the car, the police found blood, loads of blood, and a lead pipe with a bandage wrapped around it, like to hold it, like to grip it, and blood on the pipe. So that's when the manhunt for Lord Lucan began. Now, where'd he go? Hey, Tammy, where'd he go? Where'd Lord Lucan go? Well, rumor has it, there's a couple of things. So some people say he jumped into the river. What river? I don't know. They just say river, the river. But the main story is that while he was on the ferry crossing a channel over into France, he jumped into the English Channel. Now, that's very choppy waters, but to this day, no body has been found. I'm not saying you have to find one, but there's two shores. So you've got the English side and the French side. So you think at some point something would wash up. I'm telling a story, Tammy. Sorry. So no body washed up, no clothing, nothing. They didn't go, absolutely gone. When they went to his house, they found 3 cars. Well, this information that I'm about to tell you did not come out until recently. So when they went to his house, his passport was still there, his wallet was still there, and there was 3 cards there, and they were from Cluedo. The game Cluedo, or Clue, y'all call it Clue, right? The game Clue. So it was Colonel Mustard, a hammer, and another, I can't remember what the other card was. And they were just left there like out. So they were like, but no game board, no rest of the game wasn't there. Just these 3 cards were in the house, which was like, are you telling on yourself, or are you Colonel Mustard and the hammer's the pipe? Do you know what I mean? So do I think it was? We're gonna get to that. we're gonna get to that because I have my what I think happened, but and I'm not like you know I don't know, but they say he jumped. They say and his wife, his ex-wife, Lady Lucan, um, claims that he jumped in the channel, the English Channel, and drowned. Like, why would you know that? Like, why would that even? Because you have to have a passport. Well, I don't know about 1974, but you have to have a passport even if you're crossing the channel into France. They check it. They check your passport. They checked mine. I mean, I go across. I have to have my passport when I go. So do I? So now all through history, because it's been 50 years, right? From 1974 till today is like 50 years, and there have been so many sites. He's been sighted in Portugal, Africa, Australia, Spain. He's been. I mean, he has been spotted everywhere in the world. People spotted him. Excuse me. As of last week, just last week, um, Lord Lucan and a pensioner in Australia have been matched as the same individuals by facial recognition software. What? Now, the guy is 87 years old. The man that they think it's him. Now, this is where Neil Berryman, her son. So Neil Berryman was the son she gave up for adoption. He didn't know that was his mother until his mother, who had raised him, on after she passed away, left him an envelope, and the envelope had her name in it, but her name was uh, her former married name, not Rivet. So when he did a little bit of digging, he found out his mother was Sandra Rivet, and then he like kind of looked into it, was like, oh my God, that was the woman who Lord Lucan killed, or was that's the woman Lord Lucan was accused of killing, right? Because we don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did it because there's too much evidence to say that he did that didn't happen. So we're gonna say yeah. And oh, let's see. In 1994, you had to have valid adult ID. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he probably didn't use his. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't live here in 1974, so maybe they didn't need a passport. And uh, so yeah, so he finds out Sandra Rivet's mom. So then he starts investigating it, and he spent loads of money trying to find this. What would happen to Lord Lucan? I mean, his own money. This Neil Berryman did. So Neil Berryman became convinced this 87-year-old pensioner who lives near Brisbane, Australia, is actually Lord Lucan. So he contacted a Professor Hassan Ugel, who works for Bradford University here in the UK. And he has created this really super duper facial recognition software. Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a question, Daniel?
No, I was just moving that out of my way.
Okay. So
I'll bring it back
guy,
up when I have to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. So Berryman asked this Professor Ugel to use this. So he uses special software. Now, this software has actually been used to locate people, locate criminals, find them, and so it's really, really like intense software. So what happened is, so they compared 3 pictures of the pensioner that someone had taken, 3 pictures of this pensioner, this older gentleman, and 4 old pictures of Lord Lucan. And apparently the results were nothing but nothing short of extraordinary. Because as the professor says, you can't cheat algorithm.
So, did I miss this information? How was this old dude even thought of as Lord Lucan?
I think someone had tipped off this. So Neil Berryman, the son of Sandra. I mean, he searched and searched and searched, and I think someone tipped him off to say that, hey, this guy might be him. And so he got, I don't know if Neil Berryman then went to Australia, or someone sent him pictures. Maybe they had a suspicion that it was him. And so they sent Berryman these 3 pictures, and he took the pictures to Professor Ugel with 4 old pictures of Lord Lucan. And apparently they matched, because according to the computer algorithm, it's based on thousands of experiments. And these, so what he's saying with the algorithm, and what it does, it measures the space between the eyes and the spatial from here, no matter how old you are, like it measures all the bones and everything. And they compared the pictures through this computer software, and apparently it's either the same individual or a twin. That's how good apparently this computer software is. So what has Bree said? I have 3 friends who met family members I didn't know about before. See, and I wonder if they can't use DNA. Well, now they have to get the DNA from his son, Lord Lucan's son, which does exist, but he believes his father's dead. So he's not going to be like, here's my DNA, go arrest this man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he would. I don't know. And then whoever this older gentleman is, he, 1, may not give up his DNA, or 2, if he's being taken care of by his family, or if he's in the care of because he lives in an old people's home. So if he's in the care of old people's home, they're not going to give his DNA up, if they're responsible for him. So it's not, I mean, it'd be cool if they could, but even just to clear, but if it's like, I'm not him, where you're clearing me for, if you keep, you can't clear me from something I didn't do. So, I don't know. So I wonder if you killed it. I don't know. I don't know if he killed him, but I don't know. I mean, I think when he killed Sandra Rivet, he was 40. So I don't know as far as I'm aware, there were no victims before Sandra Rivet. So I don't know. I don't think this was like, he is like a mass killer. I just think he snapped. He, based on the crippling debt, the fact that he lost his children, the fact that he was obsessed with getting the bag, probably because he didn't want to pay child support. And I think the man snapped and thought, I think, so what the theory is, he thought when he went into the kitchen, he thought from behind, Sandra was his wife, because it was dark. He couldn't really see in there. And he started to attack her. And then I think he realized it wasn't his wife. So I think that Sandra got killed because he thought Sandra was, and they don't look anything alike. Sandra and Lady Lucan don't look alike. So, yeah. So the computer scientists that are based at the University of Bradford, and they had made global headlines for the work of this facial recognition software. So they have done this before. So this isn't like just some rando guy who says, I can do it. This has been proven time and time again with this software. So when they put these 3, the pictures of the older gentleman and Lord Lucan together, they think it's the same person or a twin. I mean, it could be that, so Lord Lucan's daddy may have been out playing around in Australia and had kids. We don't, he may have we don't know. He may have had a mistress. And the result was this older gentleman. And maybe that's why he looks like him. You don't know. And it's so weird. It's so bizarre. And the professor claims that the computer algorithm has never been wrong. It will analyze 2 photos and provide a similarity index or percentage likelihood of a match. For all the pictures comparing Lord Lucan to the Australian pensioner, the similarity index was 75% accurate, and in most cases, it was 80% accurate. So, you know what I mean? It's just like so crazy. Could this pensioner be Lord Lucan? I mean, and like, and back to the computer image. The computer images sees both these images together in all these different dimensions. So we're just like, it measures facial feet, like is it spatial distances between your eyes, your nose and your mouth. It does all this. And so when you get two pictures, it tells you, yes, they're a match, or no, they're not the same person. Apparently, it's the same person. I don't know. That's what the computer says. Computer says same person. So I just think, could it be him? What do I think happened? Do I think he killed himself? Do I think he escaped? Yes. Yes, I think he escaped. Do I think this pensioner's him? Unclear. Don't know. I'd have to. I wouldn't be convinced until like saying DNA happened. I wouldn't be convinced. And even then, like I said, if Lord Lucan's dad was out, catting around, he could have gone to Australia, got someone pregnant, came back, and that could actually be Lord Lucan's half brother. We don't know. So it's just so strange. I'd have to. Unless short of this guy going, yes, it was me. I mean,
So have they sent anybody to talk to him?
No, because because they have no proof it's him apart from this computer algorithm. And like I said, this 87-year-old man is in this care home, and I think I don't know if he has family or is he in the care of the. I mean, he could have family. If Lord Lucan got there at 40, he could have had a whole nother family. You could have had children and all sorts. But as far as I'm aware, the home that he's in, the old people's home, was like, you're full of shit. It's not him. We know this man. This man is not Lord Lucan. I'm like, but how long have you known him? Do you know him since he was born, or have you just known him for the past 40 years, 47 years? I do think, yes, it was a big story back in Hey H. Welch, back in the day. And the thing is, then DNA would prove it was diluted as a sibling. But I just think that his son would have to give the DNA. And I don't think Lord Lucan's son, and Lord Lucan's son's still alive, and all his children are still alive. And I don't know if he would be prepared to do that. I mean, that's his ethical dilemma, not mine. That's up to his. That's, but if there's no, so it's strange because if you have no actual evidence, can you just walk into an old folks home and go, hey, you Lord Lucan or nah? And because he's in this home, they're protecting him. They're saying, you can't just come and do that. We're not allowing you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So and I believe honestly, 100% believe he escaped.
The question is, so evidently, of course, this just happened.
Right.
But evidently the police don't believe it, or they would be like, maybe we'll go look into this since we have this piece of evidence, if they believe it's that good. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
And
no, 100%.
we should investigate that. My question is going all the way back again.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be fine. Go see the children. I'll not say anything. So she was not going to call the cops and drag that poor woman out and bury her in the backyard.
Who, the wife?
Yeah. Did she call the cops? Because it was his mom who called the cops.
I think, well, she actually went out. Okay, so sorry, I forgot this part. She actually, after he left, she ran to a nearby pub and alerted them, and then they called the police.
Okay.
So she did go for help.
Because I'm like,
she did go for help, and she was like, she went into the pub, and she was badly beaten. It wasn't like she just got a little bump. I mean, her injuries were quite severe. Lady Lucan's were. When the police went to the house, they found the poor Sandra Rivet in this duffel bag. They found blood all up and down, all up the stairs, going up the stairs into the rest of the house. So based on that, her story tracks that he came upstairs. She convinced him to come upstairs. They, see the kids, because the blood trail from him went all the way to the kids' room, all the way back, and it was Sandra Rivet's blood, or they think it was. Well, they did it by type back then. You know what I mean, like AB or B or and so yeah, so she did actually go for help. Sorry, I forgot that part. But she did actually run to the pub right down the street and Don't know if she didn't have a phone in her house or what. I think maybe he cut the phone lines. Unclear. But she left the house to get help while the kids were asleep and Sandra was already gone. So there was a big manhunt. It was a big deal. There was a big manhunt. I don't know how far they went. Now this information literally came out. This algorithm pictures, the pictures with the computer software, literally just came. This news just happened last week. So now I'm sure Neil Berryman took it to the police. This is all papers here. And the separate company, also specializing in facial recognition, took the same pictures, compared them, and had the same answer. That it was the same person.
So here's my question also. How were these pictures attained if he's in a nursing home?
I don't know if they didn't go into that. That information wasn't there. So it was like, I don't know if someone had.
Who's this third person that's turning this information in?
I don't know if there is a third person. I'm just assuming that either someone had to have shipped, because the million people in Australia, you can't find one needle in a haystack. So someone must. Is there information that they always thought this person was Lord Lucan and contacted Neil Berryman because when he was looking for his, when he became an adult and after he realized who his mom was, he was already grown. He was a grown man. So he started, looking and making a lot of noise about it, which was probably about maybe 15 years ago, or maybe a little bit, maybe 10 years ago. He started making a lot of noise about it. And then he started, I want this, I want you to do this. And, here's the thing though. It's a 50-year-old case that the police have never solved. Do they then spend all, I think, yes, they should. My answer would be, yes, they should spend all that money to go all the way out to Australia to investigate this, to find out if this is Lord Lucan. If it's not, fine. If it is, arrest the man. But are the is the Met Police going to do that? Are Scotland Yard going to spend that money and reopen this case? Because it's still, as far as I know, it's an open case. It's not ever been closed because they never found her killer. They never found Lord Lucan. Here's why I think he escaped. Because he goes to his friend's house and they say to the paper, oh yeah, he came to our house and he left. I think being an aristocrat and having, noble ties, you would know people and you would have people who had means to do things for you. And I think for someone like that, it probably, and especially in 1974, it probably wouldn't be that hard.
Well, and also you need to think too, if he was into gambling, he knew some nefarious people.
Mm-hmm.
Or they knew him, I should put it that way.
Yeah. So I think it's very possible that do I think he's his pensioner? Unclear. I would need more evidence if that gentleman in the old folks home is him.
I'm just curious of how they came about the picture.
I don't know, because it never
this not tattletale, but
but
this informant. So is it somebody who worked at the nursing home and may have heard stories from this gentleman that he kind of thought, what's this about? And so he took pictures or stole pictures or did something of that ilk? Or is it if he had a family over there, is it a family member?
Don't know. That's the thing. I'm like, when he ended up going on the run, he was 40 years old. He's plenty of time to still have another family. If you know what I mean. And I do this, and like I said, I don't believe he jumped into. Here's why, because I think he was a bit of a coward. So I can't see him offing himself. I can't see him jumping into a river, jumping into the English Channel. I see him running like hell and getting the hell out of Dodge, and with his connections and his network of rich, nobility, old rich white man helping him, and and maybe just because they were loyal to his father, maybe these people didn't care for him. They got, well, his dad was a great. All this, patriarchy, malarkey, BS. That's why I believe he did escape. Because nothing. And here's the thing: the channel is water in between two pieces of land. At some point, something gonna wash up. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He maybe couldn't hide. Maybe he could have hide his poshes. Maybe, you know, maybe he was hidden out in the, I don't know, in the outback somewhere, and then eventually he came into town. I don't know. I have no idea. Yes. Yes, Betty. Thank you, Betty. I just got there. Let me put that up there because I think that makes total sense. I mean, because if it kills one person, he's not going to be bothered about killing someone else, is he? And I think, and here's another reason why I think that, because people like that, I don't know about now, but we're always very entitled, very like, oh, I'll get out of this. Oh, I'm not going to take responsibility for this. I'm going to get away, because, they have all that money and nobility, and they've always been treated, better or higher up than, like me or you or whatever. I felt like he thought I felt like he thought he could get away with it, and he did.
What I don't understand too, going all the way back, if you had just murdered somebody and you had almost beat the living daylights out of the other person, why would you stop? Why would you stop? Because you could have shut her up with one whack across the head, even if she was fighting you, even if she was screaming and fighting and all that stuff. If you had beat her that bad already, why would you stop when you just killed somebody else and that's the person you want to kill? Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why, just because she said, oh, it's you.
Yeah, which I think, well, because if you think you're gonna, well, I mean, true, he could have just offed her. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been done with it.
It wasn't anything about her being able to identify him. He was gonna kill her.
Yeah,
she would not identify anybody.
Wait, yeah. So I don't know why he stopped. I don't know if he maybe came to his senses, or all of a sudden was just like, this is not going to work, or his children were upstairs.
After
Who
just
knows?
killing somebody. Oh, I can't do it because I just killed somebody else.
I mean, he could be tired. I don't know, but I don't know. But then you think she's in on it?
I don't know. It's an odd.
It is a bizarre tale.
Thing. And my thing is, if somebody is trying to kill me, I'll be damned if I'm going to let those people go up to my children.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she felt
and have a pickaroos in. I mean, if he has gone that nuts to where he has killed my nanny and almost just killed me, why would I let him go up and look at my children?
Well, I mean, you don't know how you would react in that situation. I mean, you claim, I mean, you say you would react that way, but if she's like, I've got to get out, I've got to get, I mean, I've never been in that situation. So I'm thinking of a scenario where you like, I have to survive this. And the only way I can survive this is calm him down, get him to a place where he doesn't want to kill me anymore, or get him out of here. And, and I know, I see what you're saying. I mean, I'm the same way. I'd pick up my baseball bat and we'd be going at it. But, when she was caught off guard, we can say that now because we're not there, but we don't know what, we don't know what kind of control he had over there, what kind of fear he had instilled in her being married to, I mean, it's like, if it's stranger, it's one thing, but this person has probably systematically beat you down. Do you know what I mean? So where, to the point where you know how to handle that person to some extent. Do you know what I mean? Like, how to either push their buttons or calm them down. So I mean, I'm not I don't want to blame her. Do you know what I mean? Unless she was part of the crime, I don't want to blame the victim, because she, because I think people also forget
that at all.
No. But it is bizarre why she would do that.
No sense to me why he would stop.
I really don't know.
I mean, if you had went that far to where you've almost got her at death.
Yeah. I can't answer that question. I'm just going, you don't know what their past was. I mean, we know some of it, but we don't know how fearful she was, and probably very fearful, and how uh she maybe knew how she could calm him down. Maybe she knew, like, I do this, this will stop this. You know what I mean? Because if you're with somebody who's like that, I think you kind of know when and where and how to get out of that situation. Because you've had to before. You've had to get to point. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. So I mean, but it could be that he was passing by, saw someone attacking her, and he walked in. Not so sure, since there was a bloody pipe found in his car. But
Well, and plus, wouldn't you go call the police?
yeah, wouldn't you go? Exactly. Why would you just run off and call your mom and go to your friend's house and then F off? You know what I mean? And piss off to wherever. Australia.
Well, here's my thing. Where did he go to call the mom?
I think he went to a payphone. Yeah.
So he went to a payphone with blood dripping off of him.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I don't know.
Bizarre.
The whole thing just sounds
it's so bizarre. It's
absolutely bizarre.
weird...
I don't understand it at all.
I had to read it a couple of times because I was like, this, because even I was like, this doesn't sound right. And it's getting, and there's so many different places to get information, and there's some information here, and there's different information here, and I'm just trying to piece it all together. But because I just thought it was, I heard of Lord Lucan. I kind of knew the story. I didn't really know a lot about it. I'd heard the name, and then when this news came out, I was like, well, let me look into this chap here, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. But to answer Heather Elizabeth's question, yes, I don't think he killed himself. I absolutely don't. He was, yeah. I like H. Welsh says, he was a narcissist. I don't think he was going to kill himself. So there you go. Oh yeah, there's those big red box payphones. Yeah, they're everywhere. Even in the nice places like Belgravia. They're probably really nice phone boxes though. But it was just a tale that I thought y'all needed to hear, especially since they started the news just came out about this. I mean, this poor old man, probably isn't even him, But algorithms don't lie. Computers just read what they read. They don't have an opinion about it. It just tells you, it reads the information and spits it out. So yeah, rich people get away with it. Yeah, it's true. So I just thought it was a fascinating tale. And there's been no more updates. If there is an update, I will definitely let you guys know. I'll definitely, talk about it if they do actually go talk to this man in Australia. But at that point last week, it had just gotten to that point. I don't know if the police are interested or if they're just like, meh, which to me would be sad, because that woman, Sandra Rivet, should get justice, regardless of who did it. You know what I mean? So I hope you enjoyed today's story, y'all. True story, but bizarre. Bizarre as hell. It was a strange one. And I just thought I had to tell somebody about it. Because I just thought it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So we have a couple of minutes left. So next week, Daniel,
Dolores is backing out, so there will be no Double D next week.
Okay, I'm not backing out.
She has things she has to take care of.
I do.
We'll just put it that way. And so there will be and it's Thanksgiving, so there will be no Double D, but I will be going live at some point in time, just because I do it every year for us lonely not lonely, but us people who don't do anything during Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna come on and do a little chat. Unclear whether I'm gonna do it of a morning or afternoon. I don't know which you guys would rather have, because I don't know who would show up and all that stuff. So we'll talk about on Friday. Tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow's Friday.
Friday.
I have been off this whole week. All day yesterday, I was thinking it was Thursday.
Yeah, it's been one of those weird
telling
weeks.
People it was Thursday, and I this once again, I'm with Dolores. This has been a week. So, yeah, it's been very interesting. So, I'll have my little chat tomorrow and we can decide when we want me to go live
Right. Exactly.
or
So
if you even do.
I do. I mean, I won't be there, but
You don't count.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have to go see some people, and it's kind of important. Yeah, and yeah. So, but the following week, thank you. I got that from Miss Pamela. The following week it'll be back on my channel, and if I know any more news about Lord Lucan and the old age pensioner, I will definitely let you know.
We'll see if we find anything out about Lurkin Lucan.
Look, I know, right? That's a good one. Are you a lurking Lucan or nah? All right, guys. Well, I thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for hanging out and, let me share the story with you. And y'all will see Daniel next week. Y'all see Daniel tomorrow. And all his links are in the description of this video. Daniel's channel, Crafty Crafting, his Instagram. Y'all go subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. And I will talk to y'all later. Y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.